So we're moving into the second test. Got past Shinzo, and now we're going on to Futaba. Futaba's, I'm fully just assuming that she's going to have way more of a. I think the easiest way is more like a technique-based thing, and it looks like we got exactly that. And I didn't think hers was going to be as aggressive, just because like if it's just three big battles back to back to back, as cool as it would be, like I can watch three like really cool fights, like easy. But I feel like from the standpoint of, I think a lot of people, it would get kind of boring as a exam, because then it's just, okay, you fight three guys, versus this where it's like, okay, well, this is a technique based thing. You have to like know certain like small like minute details and aspects of what's going on in order to pass it. And I understand that, because like the one thing about being a spy, it's not just fighting like a really strong opponent. They also have to get in like very kind of precise scenarios where they have to be very careful, use like whatever more intelligent strategic setup they have presented around them to get past their obstacles and opponents. And Futaba, I actually really like Futaba. She's probably one of my favorite members of the main cast. Like, I like Taiyo. Shion, I like Shion like a good amount, but she's more, I think, entertaining, kind of like. But where like Futaba is badass, but also I really like her panels. I also like her design. Like, she's really weird, like even in comparison to the other characters, because she's all dressed up in like this. Oh, well, I don't know if it's not goth Lolita, but you know what I mean? Almost like a Victorian kind of style. I do think that her design is pretty good, and I like that she's actually able to back up her, when she's got to flex, pretty much. She's got to talk a little shit. She's able to carry on the weight of being the oldest sister of the family. But they're all set around these cups, and they pretty much have like this trick to them, because she's infused them with this energy that if you go too fast, it will make these like big torrents, like these little tornadoes that will just send you flying, and if you go too slow, it will freeze over and you won't be able to drink it. So drinking the tea is part of the test, but it's like, okay, well, what exactly is it going to be? And I'm guessing from the end of the chapter, like for the most part, it's supposed to be a trick kind of thing, like a not like a trick question, but kind of more like there's different methods to getting through it. And I understand that, because again, if you're in some form of delicate situation as a spy, there's probably more than one way to solve it. That you have to be able to look for more than what your first thought is or what you're first presented with, and go for what you think is the best solution for your own standards. And she had like this really cool backstory, like when some of the bigger dudes were getting mad and they weren't having this, and they're like, all right, this is a joke. And I got kind of sad, because the guy that said it, he looked like a badass. Like, he had this really cool beard and hair combo. He's got all these scars, he's got an axe, but unfortunately it was one of those guys who's just made to look like a big muscular thug because he's a throwaway meathead. And Futaba wasn't having any of it. She just used her sinking wind technique and just dropped all these dudes right down on the ground, and pretty much just put them in their place and said, like, hey, get your shit together. You guys better shape up, because it is true. Like, these guys are all bronze ranked. Like, these are the lowest ranked. As cool as like some of these dudes look, just in terms of like being a raw powerhouse badass looking guy, it doesn't mean anything when he's like trying to go up against somebody who's 2 full ranks above him. Like, I don't know. I feel like even if I was in his shoes, like if I was just some big meathead, I'd be like, yeah, she's higher ranked for a reason. I should probably be a little careful, because just because she looks small doesn't mean that she like is weak. And she gave him a demonstration. She was like, hey, how about you guys sit the hell down and shut up? And I thought that was really cool for her. She wasn't having it. And she gets like a moment like when she was going through the exams, like way back in the day, and she's saying how anybody who took it after them, they needed to show the examinees and the examiners that, like, it wasn't just like a raw powerhouse kind of like aggressive way. There was like there are methods and tests that could be way more, again, technique based. And they even explained that Shinzo was the body, she's the technique, and Kyochiro is going to be the mind. His is going to be weird. Like, I wonder if his is going to be more like a horror-based thing. Like, I can see him doing something just to terrify all these guys. with his whole steel spider setup and just do a bunch of different motions and tricks to kind of just work into their heads. At the end of the chapter, though, it looks like Taiyo was able to figure something out because I think he just realized that she's got some form of trick kind of going on, and he goes over there and he like sits by and he's like, "Hey, can I drink this?" And she's like, "Yeah, go ahead." And there seems to be something about it that he's figured out. I'm very much looking forward to seeing exactly like what exactly did he kind of like piece together to deduce like the current scenario and the solution to the setting that he's in. Because I mean, there has to be something. I don't think he's just guessing, or it's like, oh, I just know Futaba, she's gonna do this. I fully believe there's just a trick that he was able to pick up upon and be like, okay, yeah, the laser focused, I see what you're doing here, we'll see how things are going now, and reveal whatever whatever exactly his revelation is, and like what his solution is, like where his solution goes into fixing that. But I'd have a lot to say about this chapter. It was pretty fast to read. It was mostly set up for it. It was kind of like how the chapter before, like the first part into like the Shinzo fight, the only thing that was like extra in the Shinzo stuff was where we got like insight on people in the family, like saying like, oh, you could exploit this weakness of his to defeat him, X, Y, and Z. Outside of that, I didn't really see a whole lot to discuss in this chapter, because it was really just a big flex from Futaba and setting up her portion of the trial. But other than that, though, comment below, thumbs up the video, but friend, like button, subscribe, and check out my other videos. For that, if you haven't already subscribed, and thank you all for listening. Bye.